There's a lot of very striking new boats at the 2025 Cannes Boat Show, but behind me here is one of the most interesting. Now, Arcadia Yachts have been building futuristic looking boats for many years now, but the latest A80 new is one of the best of the lot. So there she is in all her glory. Now, it is pretty striking. We've got that very vertical bow, lots of glass. They were one of the first yachts to really go big on glass. And it's not just glass. Also, on top of that big hardtop, there are solar panels that help charge all the systems and mean you can run the boat without always having to have the generator running. Now, this particular boat comes in at 6.2 million euros ex-taxes. But what you will be amazed is just how much space there is on board for an 80-footer. There's got 5 cabins in total, including a main deck master. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get on board and let me show you round. My name's Hugo Andreae. You're watching Motorboat and Yachting. Right, let's take a look on board. So first of all, we've got a passerelle leading out from the stern platform. You can see this section here is cut out. That's clearly a hydraulic platform. And I'm told you can take a tender in this garage here up to about 3.2 meters. So you can get a good size Williams jet rib in there. Now we've got a beautiful glass balcony here, so you get a lovely view out when you're sitting in that cockpit area, and steps either side. You'll also notice that these big quarter platforms here will fold down. There isn't enough room here in the show, but those will fold down to create a lovely extended surface area so you can walk around the deck there. Now, one of the big things of Arcadia is the idea of wellness on board. So everything is a very kind of mellow, relaxing vibe. You can see these beautiful, big, sort of puffed up sofas here, very chilled out, very laid back, beautiful kind of round curved designs. It's all sort of soft, welcoming, informal, relaxed. Even the little sideboard units here, lovely oval shape, little cutout teak doors, marble surface. It's pure Italian design loveliness, really. That same vibe continues inside. You can see we've got a sort of pale oak flooring here with lavish carpet on either side, really sort of thick, deep pile. You can see the little footprints in it. Same very sort of textured, soft sofas on either side. Big windows, that's the other thing they do so well. Enormous areas of glass. And the lovely thing about these ones is that they actually open up as well. So you can see this one, we've got slid open, lovely breeze, cooling breeze coming in through there, slightly sort of tinted glass to keep things a little bit cooler during the daytime without having to rely on air conditioning. Central dining area here, again, soft curves, not quite oval table, but you can see everything is very soft, so you're not gonna hurt yourself if you bump into it. Very cool designer light fittings overhead. The other thing they're very big on is privacy. Now, don't forget, this is only an 80-foot boat, and I say only because as we go around it, you'll see how much space there is, but there's also room for 4 crew, and the separation between crew and guests is a key part of it. So you can see here, this is the galley and the serving area. That leads directly down to the crew area. We'll see if we can take a look at that in a minute, but first let's come back and have a look at the guest areas. But it's all been designed so that the crew and the guests can flow independently each other and not get in each other's way. Now, there is room for 10 people around this table, 4 on either side, 1 at each end. I love this feature too. So it's literally just a window, but it's not quite circular, it's not quite oval, but it's a real design feature. It's just giving you a little bit of a view out over the side onto those steps leading up to the foredeck. Now, there are a few people on board, so we'll just see if we can work our way around as best we can, but please forgive me if there's a few people. Look at that. That's in fact a light fitting, that little bar there. You can see the LED lights coming through from there. Now, one of the other big wins of this boat is the main deck owner's cabin. It's very rare still on an 80-foot boat to have a main deck owner's cabin, but look how lovely this one is. Huge windows overlooking both sides. Nice to see there's a little opening port section in that too, so you can get fresh air. But what a spectacular owner's cabin. And being on the main deck, it means you're obviously that much further removed from the hull, so you shouldn't get any hull noise. I certainly can't hear any slapping of the chines in here. And of course you have that elevated view, which when you've got windows this size is well worth having. There's television hidden inside this bulkhead, and then as you move through into the ensuite bathroom, this is further forward in the sort of bow area, but because it's a big beamy boat that carries that beam a long way forward, there's still plenty of space in here. Very cool shower compartment over on the port hand side with its own opening porthole and big window. Even the mirrors here, that would have so easily just been a single piece of glass, but no, they've given it little bevel edges. I think those might open too, actually. There's a bit of storage in there, but beautifully framed in oak. Very lovely natural marble sinks. Loo over on this side. We've got the blinds down here, but bidet and a loo, in fact, on this side. Spectacular owner's cabin. Coming back from the owner's cabin, the other benefit, of course, is that it leaves all the lower deck free for guests. But before we go down there, I thought it's worth pointing out that there is a dayheads, another really handy feature and very kind of super yacht style to have a dayheads on the main deck, giving guests a nice easy option rather than having to go down and use someone's ensuite bathroom. Curving staircase down. I can't tell you how soft this carpet is. It feels really good underfoot. A little bit of storage as we go down. And then there are 4 double cabins down here now. All of them are en suite. We'll start with a starboard twin. All good headroom in here. There's a good, probably feels like about 6.5 feet headroom. Big mirrors help bounce that light around, give the feeling of a bit more space. Everyone has their own hull window, an opening porthole, and even these twin beds are a really good width actually. I haven't got my measuring tape on me, but those look like they're a good 2.5, 3 feet wide. Good space in between them. Ensuite bathroom, all very similar but very elegantly done with this teak covering, black frames to the glass doors, seats inside, black fittings, all very modern, very cool. Let's come back out and over on the starboard side now. This is facing aft, matching twin, pretty much a mirror image of the previous one. It has its own bathroom too, all the same lovely high quality materials, that marble. And then moving further aft, we've got the 2 doubles. Very much a mirror image of each other, but obviously that much bigger, good space all around the beds. Same flat floor, same 6.5 feet of headroom. That much more light coming in. It's obviously a bigger window there. But very, very cool design. Even here it looks like this mirror might have a light above it. If I press that, look at that. Bit of storage under here. All the TVs hidden in these smoked glass bulkheads. Good storage on this side of the bed. Good hanging lockers. And a matching one over on this side. Very similar, but there's something very relaxing about it. I know, I'm sure it's a bit of a PR spin to say it's all about sort of wellness and well-being on board, but there is something to it. It does feel very chilled, very relaxed, and just beautifully done, but not in a sort of complicated, fussy way. It all feels very elegant, slightly understated, modern, but using beautiful natural materials. Good sized bathrooms too. Very good. Nice little vanity unit. I think that lifts up. Even that's very nicely done. Look, we've got a little extra light for the mirror there. Little separate things for your earrings and watches or whatever it may be. Sometimes it's the details that really stand out. Now, don't forget, this is only an 80-foot boat. I say only an 80-foot. Obviously, that's a big size boat, but the amount of space, the fact that you've got those 5 separate cabins. It's a big storage area in there, not terribly interesting, but lots of useful space. And then steps up into the raised pilot house. So this is the main bridge deck. Now, given that there is room for 4 crew, the chances are you will have a full-time captain on board. He's got really good visibility. A lot of these big Italian raised pilot house boats, you find you've got very limited views and very steeply raked windows that like peering through a letterbox, but these are actually a really good height. They're relatively vertical. They wrap 270 degrees around the bridge. So you have got really good visibility, provided of course you haven't got guests sitting at that particular dinette table out there, but to be honest, they're unlikely to be there underway, or if they are, they're more likely to be sunbathing. Very nice, clear, unfussy bridge design. Now, this is an IPS drive boat, so you've got standard Volvo Penta throttles and the joystick control, but this is quite quirky. Look at the size of this wheel. That's a proper Carbon Nautica, carbon fibre sailing wheel. But you know what, on this boat it doesn't feel out of place. It actually feels really quite cool. I'm not sure, it might be a little bit odd driving an IPS boat with a wheel that size, but why not? Looks and feels are very different. And this is the other big win on board this boat. Look at the size of this Flybridge. Now, there is pretty much a full-length hardtop overhead, so it's very nicely shady and sheltered. But look at the size of it. It runs almost the full length of the boat because we are a long way forward. You can just about see the bow down there, but you get an idea of how close we are to that bow area. Enormous wet bar along this side. Oh, I'm being shown something extra special here. Ah, what have we got here? We've got an extra little helm station. That's a cool feature. And then moving towards the aft end of the Flybridge, just a great row of very comfortable looking sunbeds. You can see up above here, this is a soft extension to the sunshade, but what a lovely place to hang out. More cool designer light features. And sometimes luxury is not just the detail, it's also the space and not cluttering it up too much. And here it feels fantastically open. There is, of course, a second helm station up here too, so if you want to helm the boat from outside, you've got a beautifully sheltered spot here, another one of those enormous ship's wheels, but it does feel very special. This time you've got a relatively low windshield, but remember, this is not a super quick boat, so you're only likely to be doing sort of 12, 14 knots, or most of the time cruising along at 10 or so. Television under here, so you can sit up here and watch a movie or check out some sport. And then it's got asymmetric decks, so on the starboard side it cuts short because there's a staircase coming up, and I'll show you that in a minute. And on the port side, lovely wide side decks. And look at this detailing here. Beautiful rectangular guardrail, all the welds beautifully polished out. Everything it may look simple, but clearly a lot of thought and a lot of work have gone into making it that way. Now here's that rather cool little dinette. Like I said, you're unlikely to be using this underway because you are right at the bow area, but once you're anchored up, another lovely spot to hang out. Wonderfully elevated view, and because you're right forward, there's nothing in the way other than the pilot house behind you, but looking around the bow of the yacht, you see just how close we are to it. And that is quite a stubby, quite beamy bow. And just this little separate level here, which is obviously the sort of crew work area. It keeps all the clutter, all the anchors, all the ropes, everything out of the way there. And then you can see, if you come down this way, this leads you back down to the steps, taking you down to the main deck again. So there's a very nice easy flow. Whichever way you go round the boat, you can come up through it inside or outside, and crew can obviously come and go exactly the same way. And there we are, back on the main deck. So I've had a quick check and it looks like we can look down in the crew area. Now it's a relatively steep staircase down, but comfortable enough. But remember, this is only an 80-foot boat, and usually crew areas are pretty cramped on a yacht of this size. But here we've got a lovely little mess area, so there's somewhere for crew to hang out when they're not on duty. Got a television as well. Small mess area here. Obviously the galley is literally right upstairs anyway, so it's not like that's a problem. Plenty of storage along this side. And then through to the cabins. Now they are bunk cabins and relatively tight. They're obviously not hugely spacious, but you do get an opening porthole. We've got bunks, their own ensuite bathroom, and a similar one on this side too. Again, 2 bunks, ensuite bathroom. But I think the real luxury is having separate space and privacy for the crew. So they can hang out down here. They've got their own private access. They've both got ensuite bathrooms. Sure, the beds aren't that big, but at least you've got fresh air, you've got a view, you've got space to hang out when you're not on duty. That's a lot better than you find on most 80-foot boats. Now, the galley, pretty well spec'd. Got a Siemens fridge freezer, lots of storage along here. Good size 1.5 sink and a really big induction hob and oven beneath it. So clearly it is well equipped for a boat of this size. Now, sadly they won't let me have a look in the engine room. There's a few sensitive technical bits that they're not keen for me to make public, but what I can tell you is that the way the hull has been shaped is to give efficient low-speed running. And I'm told that at 10 knots, it burns just 50 litres per hour. So again, a boat of this size, particularly of this volume, that can do effectively 5 litres per nautical mile is very impressive. So I hope you've enjoyed having a look around this boat. It is something very different, and the styling itself is not necessarily going to be to everybody's taste, but I do love the fact that from the outside it looks really modern and uncompromising, and from the inside it's very soft and welcoming and informal. So I've really enjoyed it. Do let me know what you make of it in the comments, and as always, thank you very much for watching.